Today I'm going to tell you some things that might be making your blonde hair yellow that you didn't even realize. If you are blonde, you know how it feels to get your hair freshly done. It looks perfect when you leave the salon, but a week later it feels yellow. So let me tell you some of the reasons your hair might be getting yellow really quickly or feel like it gets yellow right away, and they might not be things that you realized were affecting the color of your blonde. The number one thing that causes your hair to appear too yellow for your liking that I see clients do is use too much purple shampoo. You absolutely should not be purple shampooing your freshly done hair. Purple shampoo is incredibly clarifying. It is intended to strip buildup from your hair so that it can deposit tone very well. However, it will also strip out your fresh toner. So if you use purple shampoo and then that purple shampoo wears off, after a couple more regular shampoos, your hair is going to feel yellow now and like it never got done in the first place with a nice toner. Do not use purple shampoo until you need it. Don't use it to stay ahead of your hair getting yellow. Don't use it until your hair starts to get yellow. I also tell people that if they feel like they have to use purple shampoo to get and maintain the color that they like, then their hair is probably not being lifted enough or toned to the shade that they really want because they're having to add purple shampoo to get to that color. So that's a conversation you're going to have with your hairstylist of how to get your hair lighter or how to switch up the tone of your hair so that you don't feel the need to purple shampoo your hair so often or so quickly after getting your hair done. For example, when I used to be a very, very white blonde and did rely on purple shampoo to maintain that white blonde in between hair appointments, I would only need to purple shampoo my hair 1 or 2 times in the 6 weeks between hair appointments. You really shouldn't be needing to purple shampoo your hair every time or on a really frequent basis. Obviously, if you wash your hair every single day, you're going to need to use it a little bit more, but purple shampoo should not be something that you rely on to keep your hair looking nice. The toner should be able to do that for you. Now, if you go longer than 6 to 8 weeks between appointments, then you're probably going to have to rely on purple shampoo or getting your hair retoned before you get your highlights done again, because toner only lasts so long before it does fade out. But if you are on a regular maintenance schedule and your hair feels yellow right away, then you probably need to have a conversation with your stylist about lifting your hair a little cooler or a little nicer of a tone that you actually like better, that you don't need to put purple shampoo on to get it the way you like. I feel like I'm saying the word purple shampoo over and over and over. The word purple shampoo is losing all meaning at this point. I'm saying it so many times. The other issue with purple shampoo is that if your hair has different types of porosity, which a lot of people's does, sometimes their ends are a lot more dry, maybe the top layer of their hair is a little bit more porous and dry than the bottom layer of their hair underneath, which isn't exposed to the elements as much. And if this is the case, the hair that is more porous is going to absorb more pigment from the purple shampoo, and the hair that is not as porous is going to not absorb as much pigment. And this is going to mean the very porous areas of your hair are going to go really white or silver or a little bit purple, and the other parts are going to get toned, but in contrast to the really, really overtoned sections of your hair, those undertoned sections of your hair are going to look quite yellow. And then it becomes this vicious cycle of you using more and more purple shampoo to try and compensate to get that hair to look more even, but it really just keeps causing the problem further. And that contrast between those overly toned areas of your hair and those other areas of your hair makes those other areas look yellow when they really aren't. It's just up against those really purpley overtoned sections that can appear quite yellow, giving you this frustrating illusion that your hair is really patchy and yellow, when the problem is you're just using too much purple shampoo and you need to lay off it. Hydrate your hair, moisturize your hair, get your hair to a good healthy place, get your hair all one color, and then purple shampoo from scratch. Or get a fresh toner. There are a lot of people out there that don't realize that in between appointments, you can go and just get your blonde retoned without getting it lifted again, without getting more highlights, without whatever you do to get your hair blonde. You can just go get it toned. I even just tone my hair in between sometimes to switch up the shade, and I don't re-dye it. I just throw on a different shade of toner to shift the color of my blonde. So that is always an option that should be offered to you at your salon. Number 2 is your hair getting wet a lot. A lot of people stress about what shampoo they're going to use, if that's going to fade their hair. And really, when it comes to fading hair color of any type, including toner on your blonde hair, the biggest culprit to fadage is water. Water swells your cuticle and allows some of that pigment to fall loose. it is the water that does it. Of course, shampoo and stuff can remove some color as well, but it's really the act of getting your hair wet. So if you are someone who gets your hair wet a lot because you're showering every single day, even if you're not shampooing your hair in the shower, if your hair is getting wet, your color is fading, and that could be making your blonde more yellow. So obviously you got to do what you got to do. If you work out every day and get sweaty and you need to clean your scalp and your hair, you need to do what you got to do. But just keep in mind that the more your hair gets wet, the faster your hair color is going to fade. And it's not always the product you're putting in, it's just the fact that your hair is getting wet. Other factor that I feel like some people know, but then other people don't realize how big of a deal it is, too much heat, okay? Heat fades color. Whether that's blow drying, flat ironing, whatever it is, heat fades color. So again, it's not to say that you can't use heat, but always use heat protection and only use heat when you need to use heat. The more direct and high the heat is, the more it's going to fade and cause yellowing. It can also cause singeing, which is a whole different kind of yellow. If you get patches of your hair that are just yellow, almost like burnt yellow, you have singed your hair and you can't even really remove that yellow because it is a burn. You've burned your hair. Just think of, taking a white sheet and it gets a burn on it, that color that it gets, you can do that to your hair. Now, anyone can do that to their hair, not just blondes, but if you have dark hair, that singe isn't really going to show up. It might feel dead or dry in that section, but it's not necessarily going to look like a different color. But in blonde hair, you can see that burn color. So do be careful with your hot tools, especially the ones like flat irons and curling wands that are more direct heat on the hair strand at a higher level. Turn them down to as low as you can get away with and still get the results that you want. Use lots of heat protection. And aside from blow drying, use all other heat sparingly. Back to water, but this time it's a little different. I have some clients that no matter how light we make their hair, no matter how lovely we tone their hair goes yellow so quickly because of the water that they're on. Whether it's well water or just the city that they live in, the water seems to cause their hair to go yellow. That is due to things like minerals, iron, hard water, different chemicals to soften your water, etc., affect different people's hair differently, and the water that you are using can absolutely yellow your hair. I have had clients move from my town to another city and suddenly cannot maintain their cool blonde anymore without, getting it toned or refreshed every 2 weeks because the water at their house is now causing their hair to go significantly more yellow, significantly faster because of the water that they're on. So if you are having that issue and you do think it's your water, the best thing to do is get a filter for your shower head. The best thing to do is get a filtration system for your entire house, but that's a lot more expensive. You can get the filters for just your shower head, but in that case, I do suggest testing your water to make sure that you're getting a filter that's going to filter out what the problem is. If you don't even know what the problem is, you might not get the right kind of filter. So that is something that will absolutely make some people's hair yellow, and just any hair dye in general, it can cause issues for. Another reason your hair is probably going yellow, and I did touch about this a little bit at the beginning, but you are going too long between toners. Of course, you should get your hair done at whatever interval feels right for you and that you can afford. You shouldn't put out more money than you feel comfortable spending to maintain your hair. However, if you are going 4, 5, 6 months between blonding services, that toner is absolutely 100% gone. And even if your hair was lifted to a nice level 10, it's going to feel more yellow than when your hair was toned. So if you are someone who is going longer than 6 to 8 weeks between your appointments, you probably want to schedule just a toner appointment, which is a lot faster and a lot more affordable than a full blonding appointment, but will keep your blonde looking fresh and avoid the overuse of products like purple shampoo or just being frustrated with the color of your hair in between. And last, and the reason that I see most often when I have a new client in my chair and they complain that their hair looks good when they first leave the salon and then 2 weeks later their hair is so gold, is because their hair is just not light enough. There are levels of blonde. We have talked about this a little bit before, but most blondes who want to be very blonde, I will lift, as long as I can do so without wrecking their hair, I will lift to a level 10, because a level 10 blonde has literally almost no yellow left in it. It's almost white all on its own. So even if I'm not toning someone white, I will lift them to a 10 and then maybe tone them back down to a nice neutral cool level 9 if that's what they're wanting. But that way, as that toner fades, it's not exposing warmth underneath. Whereas if you've lifted to a level 9, which has a little bit of a yellow gold underneath, or a level 8, which is very gold underneath, and you tone it, it looks beautiful. But as soon as that toner starts to fade and go more translucent, you see what's underneath. And when what's underneath is warmth, then your blonde starts to look more golden. Whereas if the underneath is a very clean lifted canvas, then you're not going to see as much gold. So it might be time to find a hairstylist that understands that and that is comfortable lifting your hair to that level. But keep in mind, not everybody can lift to a level 10 depending on their hair type, their hair color, and generally just the hair history. It's not always as simple as just do it. There's a lot that goes into it, but that is a common issue that I do see with people who complain that their hair goes gold really, really fast. I hope that helps. I hope that gives you some insight into why your hair might be feeling a little bit more yellow than you'd like. If you are a blonde, drop any questions you have in the comments below, and I will do my very best to answer those for you. If there are any other topics you guys would like me to talk about, then please let me know that as well, because I would love to make those videos for you. Hit that notification bell so that you do not miss any of my videos. And don't forget, if you are not a subscriber, subscribe, because I would love to have you as part of my DIY hair school family. Thank you so much for watching.